Most people can't focus for 5 minutes without reaching for their phone, without checking who's watching, without wondering what everyone else is doing. They call it balance. They call it living. I call it weakness. Focus is my weapon. I don't chase trends. I don't chase applause. I chase results. And the only way to get them is to be so locked in it makes everyone around me uncomfortable. I watch the world drown itself in notifications. 1,000 digital pings a day, each one stealing another ounce of attention, of will, of soul. People scroll while they eat, while they talk, while they pretend to work. They wander through their own lives like tourists, snapping screenshots of moments they never inhabit. They've convinced themselves that the constant buzzing of their devices is a symphony of connectedness. I hear only a siren song dragging them onto the rocks. So I did what sane men fear. I cut the cord. I turned my phone off at dawn and buried it in a drawer. The silence felt radioactive. No glow, no vibration, no borrowed dopamine. My hands twitched like an addict's. My mind paced circles, begging for the cheap hit of novelty. But I refused to kneel. I stared at the blank wall in front of my desk and made it a mirror. Every distraction that whispered in my ear reflected back as weakness, begging to be slaughtered. By noon, I'd written more strategy, more code, more words than the previous week combined. The hours didn't fly. They crawled, heavy as wet concrete. Boredom clawed at my skull. That's the point. Boredom is the anvil where discipline forges steel. Day after day, I swung that hammer. Focus isn't an on-off switch. It's a muscle. And I broke it down to rebuild it dense as tempered steel. I set a timer for 30 minutes, placed a single candle on my desk, and stared into the flame. If my mind wandered, I started over. The first week, I failed 27 times a day. The second week, 10. By the end of the month, the wick would collapse into wax before my attention blinked. That exercise bled into everything. Emails drafted without alt-tabbing, books devoured without checking page counts, workouts finished without glancing at the clock. Most athletes train their bodies and neglect the steering wheel that drives them. I benched distractions until my mind could deadlift hours. I practiced saying no until it tasted sweet. No to happy hours. No to quick questions. No to side hustles dressed in shiny promises. Every refusal sharpened the edge. Weeks warped into months. Seasons changed outside the same four walls while I refined a single craft. Snow fell, melted, and green leaves returned before I looked up. When I did, the distance between me and the comfortable crowds was a canyon. They were still debating which show to binge. I was writing the script they'd watch next year. They were refreshing timelines. I was rewriting mine. Progress isn't loud until the ground you've covered makes their comfort zone feel like a grave. Friends who loved small talk, gone. Group chats choking on memes, leave. Weekend bar crawls engineered to burn time and brain cells, deleted. Fake hobbies, endless notifications, useless opinions, executed.
Not because I hate people.
Because I love winning more. I traded parties for progress, gossip for goals, small talk for a solitary silence so deep I could hear the gears in my own head grinding forward. They said I went missing. They posted where you been on my abandoned timelines. Eventually they stopped looking. They understood the truth. I was alive, more alive than ever, but far beyond the border of their comfort. Inside that emptiness, clarity bloomed. No more half-finished commitments. I planted myself on one mission and watered it with every minute the clock surrendered. No multitasking, no balance. Work until the line between days blurs. Sleep only to reload. Wake pre-dawn before light can steal the darkness I need to sharpen the blade. it gets lonely. Viciously lonely. The room audits your resolve. Walls become judges. The lamp's hum becomes a jury. In the silence, every insecurity has a megaphone. You're missing out. No one cares. Take a break. I answer with another set of push-ups, another page, another mile. The voices grow hoarse. I remain. Some nights I sit at the desk long after midnight, eyes burning, spine screaming, coffee gone cold. The city outside is a graveyard of half-lived dreams lit by neon lies. Inside, I carve my future one keystroke at a time. The enemy isn't fatigue, it's mediocrity wearing fatigue as a mask. At 3 a.m., most minds are sedated by comfort. Mind paces the cage, hungry. Obsession leaves fingerprints. People look at you differently, as if you carry a shadow only they can see. They stop asking if you have a moment. They know you don't. In meetings, my silence is heavy. Focus is gravity. Everything bends around it. They warn me I'll burn out. I remind them fires don't fear ash. I've incinerated the parts of me that sought permission. What remains cannot be extinguished. Dawn. Icy shower to cauterize doubt. Breakfast, protein and black coffee. Sweetness is earned later. Morning block. Deep work measured by a metronome ticking like a time bomb. Noon. Sprints until my lungs taste blood. Clarity hides behind lactic acid. Afternoon. Another block of work. Eyes barricaded against screens that don't serve the mission. Sunset. Study warfare, strategy, history. Minds meaner than mine, teaching me how to be cruel to my excuses. Night. Review victories, diagnose failures, plan tomorrow's slaughter. Every minute is pinned down, interrogated, forced to confess its value. If a minute can't prove itself, I execute it and feed the seconds to the ones building my empire. They call this excessive, obsessive, unhealthy. I smile, a baring of teeth, not hospitality. A wolf doesn't apologize to sheep for having fangs. Focus turns you into a ghost. Birthdays pass without your presence. Group photos feature a gap where you used to stand. But ghosts haunt. As I vanish from their trivial dramas, my work appears everywhere. Products shipped, campaigns won, records shattered. They feel my absence in their dull evenings, then meet my presence when sunrise broadcasts the scoreboard. They call it luck. Luck is the lie spectators tell themselves to ignore the discipline they lack. I trained myself to thrive in the vacuum, to sit with boredom until it cracks open and reveals opportunity. Those hours everyone else calls nothing happening are minds rich with silent ore. I dig while they sleepwalk. Pain became background noise. Hunger became a timer. Thirst became punctuation between sets. The body complains. The mind commands. The world obeys. Focus so hard they question your sanity. Focus so hard they stop inviting you out because they already know the answer. Focus so hard their casual invites feel vulgar. Graffiti on cathedral walls. Results crawl in first, humble and quiet. A project finished early, a body leaner, a bank account climbing. Then they march, armored and multiplied. Promotions, partnerships, records destroyed. Achievements become infantry breaching new gates, opening more fields to conquer. And the best part? No one saw it happen, because no one was watching the silent hours. Success loves darkness. It flowers unseen and blooms at dawn to blind the comfortable. I'm accused of tunnel vision. They're right. A tunnel shields a bullet from wind. Why fight drag when I can pierce straight through? The target is fixed. Everything else is noise. Do I miss the noise? Sometimes. Missing isn't surrender. Missing is a reminder that sacrifice has weight, and weight builds muscle. Balance is a myth sold by quitters to make surrender sound noble. The world is not balanced. It tilts toward the ruthless. Nature crowns the organism that outlasts, outworks, outfocuses. Lions don't schedule downtime. They hunt until their bellies split the grass with blood. I'm no tourist in this jungle. I'm the predator who refuses to blink. Look into my eyes and you'll find nothing cute, nothing safe. Just a mirror reflecting your wasted potential. You want success? Then vanish. Cut the noise. Cut the games. Focus so hard they're scared to even ask what you're working on.